Hey guys, we're gonna do a little bit of a different kind of recap video, different format. So let me know after you watch the video whether you like this kind of format or the regular format. So no, the background looks a little bit different because I'm currently away on Vancouver Island. Just kind of want to get away because have you ever gotten so sick and so tired of being alone at home that you finally decide to go out and be alone somewhere else in a different city? Yeah, that's kind of how it feels like for me. So that's why I kind of took like this little spontaneous trip in the middle of the week to Vancouver Island. I kind of like to do these kind of little trips or, just to get out during the week to avoid crowds, to still be outside. And sometimes I'll hang out with my friends, but mostly to avoid the crowds. And also Airbnb, hotels and flights or ferries even, everything during the week is much cheaper than normal. The ticket for my flight from Vancouver to Victoria was $50 Canadian round trip. So gotta take advantage of little, things like these and still be safe, of course, but you don't need to be rich to travel. That's the point I'm trying to make. Let's do some recap. Market's been hot. We have a lot of these low float small cap runners running up, squeezing up, and they're doing a lot of these abnormal price action that we, haven't really seen before. These algos recently has been driving the stock up, pre-market, drop it immediately, and then squeeze it right back up. So we've been seeing a lot of those actions on stocks like OPTT, WWR, PECK, PPSI and SPI. So it's sort of the same buying algo or the same manipulators, if you will. But all of these stocks, they're being tricky. And it's a difficult time to short. Let's just say that. So I kind of want to go over some stocks that's been in play the last few days and kind of summarize what happened recently. So today is Wednesday, October 7th. Let's take a look at the stocks I traded on Monday this week. So we're just gonna go over the main plays because obviously otherwise this video is gonna be very long and I know people don't want to watch long videos. So I'm just gonna recap the main plays that I made the most money on and I capitalized the most. I do have some other smaller losses, but for the time's sake, I can't really show everything. I'll try to show it though. So let's talk about the first mover on Monday, which is the major plays for me was WWR on the short side and also GRNQ. And you can see, people used to say, oh, you can just short everything and make money. No. Recently, it's been very hard to be a short seller. So this is Monday, WWR was squeezed from 470s all the way to $7 right at the open, pretty much with two hold ups with no major pullback until $7, and then later on it squeezed to $9. So this is a sort of low float algo that we're kind of talking about. All these manipulators, market makers, the insiders, whatever, they have access to level 3, which is knowing how many people are short. And when too many people are shorting the stock, they can very easily, prop it up and squeeze it higher. And that's kind of the thing we've been seeing recently with the small caps. That's why it's been difficult to short. And I will tell you, this was not an easy short on WWR. I feel like I burned so much energy. I spent so much on locate. Overall, WWR on the short side, I was way too biased on the short side. You can see, after we dropped to $5, I did think it was gonna keep on going back to $4, but no, the weakness got bought back up. They slowly crept it up above VWAP and making higher lows. I keep on getting those mixed up. Higher lows, and you can see this clear trend. They're just trying to slowly grind it up. And it's at the end of the day, they squeezed everyone out. All the stubborn shorts who didn't cover. I don't like to hold shorts throughout the day. So that's why, on WWR, even though I did go back in short, I did fight the trend because I was way too biased on the short side. I was safe, thankfully. I never like to hold these kind of low float shorts throughout the entire day because this kind of thing could happen. It usually doesn't happen so aggressively, but recently that's kind of the case here. So WWR, still green, but it was not easy. It was anything but an easy trade. And locates were extremely expensive. So that's the play on WWR on Monday. The cleaner play for me was GRNQ. You can see they pulled the same kind of algo though. They squeezed it up pre-market, they spiked it, they dropped it from $2.70 all the way to $2 and even sub $2. So 180s to the weakness, and they just squeezed it back up, essentially making this V-shape tank to the bottom and V-shape squeeze up. So it's an exact same kind of low float algo. GRNQ, technically the float isn't that low. Even with just 20 million shares float, that's low in this kind of market. So another difficult short. You can see I basically, I had a very nice average from 220s, 240s. I even added on the weakness here. And on this pop, I thought, okay, this is time for me to build some very serious size. They just squeezed me out. And my stop out would have been, 250s if it starts holding. And they start rejecting, and we can see sellers starting to step in. So that's what they've been doing. Squeeze out all the shorts on these squeeze candle, like you can see right here. This kind of 6 million shares volume. Squeeze all the shorts out from 230 to 270s. And all of a sudden, all the buyers are gone, and they dropped it right back down. So very difficult to trade, both on the long side and short side, really. Like if you look at this candle, this momentum should have continued. It should have, with this kind of volume, with this kind of strong candle, but there's just no follow through. On GRNQ, I stopped out for another small green, and I did try to short it on the backside. So, made some back on the breakdown of VWAP after $2.20 confirmed the breakdown. So I did short it back down here, covered some, re-added some more, and I was all out near the end of the day, here and here. But the front side was not easy. So that's been really tricky. So let's take a look at Tuesday, October 6th, where we had a major runner that everyone thought was going to be the next SPI, and myself included. I was way too bullish on this stock. But I did make some pretty decent profits on the long side. So PPSI is the main play on Tuesday. And unlike the plays I did on WWR yesterday, I'm more long biased on PPSI. Just because, of the research and all the planning we do pre-market. It's very important that this is why I wake up at 4 o'clock and get ready by 4:30 a.m. Pacific time to get ready and plan out for the trades I want to take. Otherwise, you're trading blind. You can't just go and short everything, because if you did, on a stock like PPSI, it went from $3 all the way to $9. If you're just shorting all the way on the way up, you would have blown up. I used to do that, so that's why I do my homework and I don't just short everything, because very, very dangerous and expensive too. So PPSI, the reason I'm more long biased on the stock is, first of all, we are in a market condition where these low float stocks, especially if it's around $3, $2 range, it just kept on squeezing. And then there's the buy algo that we're talking about. And also PPSI doesn't have that much dilution and a lot of room on the daily chart to run. And it's like a 3 or 4 million shares float. So that's definitely prime for a squeeze. And we have that thesis. Now price action, does it confirm? And yes, it does. It kept on trending up. You can see after all the squeeze breakout, it doesn't actually dump. It doesn't dump like GRNQ and WWR. It'll squeeze, pull back some, maybe 50%, and start consolidating for another squeeze. And by the way, PPSI was easy to borrow. So very key elements here to know. You can't, there's many nuances and many criteria that adds up to a trade thesis. So you gotta do your research. So I'm actually more long biased on the stock. And once it starts holding this $5 level, we can read the price action. You can see the consolidation stage. And that's where I was starting to scoop up a lot of long positions towards that $5 support. If $5 breaks down, if I'm wrong, then I'll get out for maybe 30 cents, 50 cents loss. But if my thesis is right, then the stock actually squeezed all the way to 7, 8, and 9. And I kept on adding on the way up, just because, that buy algo that we're talking about, volume was still strong, shorts were still getting squeezed. Once you figure out who is in pain, and who the big players are, there's a lot of upside to, at one point I thought it could have gone to $10 and above, but, we touched $9. That's pretty good. So this is like a cleaner execution chart. You can ignore the P&L if you want. Doesn't really matter. But the majority of my profits were from the long side. I did have some scalps on the short side, but I was mostly long with the thesis that it's gonna squeeze. And I did think that it had the potential of becoming the next SPI and go, $10, $20, but it didn't happen. You can see I had some shares left over long, with an average about $6 because I could see that there's a potential move. But at the end of the day, it broke down and got stopped out. The final position I stopped out for about 30 cents loss. So, this is the importance of, when you're right, you want to be very right. And when you're wrong on a trade, you want to take calculated risks. The final position on the long side I had it was calculated, right? I'm using profits from the day, risking a certain small percentage for a potential squeeze move towards power hour. It didn't happen. That's a shame, but it's still a pretty decent day on PPSI. And also on Monday night, we actually longed WWR overnight and made some very decent profit on the swing overnight. So it's always nice to wake up to some profits in the morning. I did have some smaller wins, as you can see, but the majority of the profits were from WWR and also PPSI, both on the long side. Okay, so which brings us to today, another very hot day with all the market and all the stocks in play. Let's talk about the losers first. DKNG today, I was early, I had a small long position, but the idea is that I want to build a core position long around $52, 53s. I don't mind adding on the way up, but I want to add along the trend. And you can say I just got stopped out. So ended up being a small loser. I never, it did end up working on this offering long, but I was kind of trying to manage a few other positions and I couldn't really watch this. So I just got stopped out automatically with a stop loss. Basically right at the bottom. So the few major plays, this is actually a very small play, TLC. There was just no buyer all day, ever since pre-market. I don't know, what made the stock actually squeeze to, $5 and to 12 and just basically bidless. There's no one buying the stock. So even with a very small short position, I was able to, make some pretty decent profits on TLC. But this is just like the side play. OPTT was also a good one. This one I tried the short early on. You can see right here, pre-market 320s. Stopped out, break even, because it just looks like it wants to squeeze. And I did go back in short, basically stopped out for break even. So this ended up being a small loser, I believe. SUNW was another play. This is the energy stock that we traded in the past before. It's kind of running alongside with all the battery names with the solar energy, etc. It doesn't always make sense, but it's up on the same time as OPTT, which is also in the energy sector. But SUNW, if you look at a daily chart, a lot of upside selling pressure, right? Just from 2 weeks ago. And that's why the stock had, very little chance of continuing the gap up and go all the way to $8 on the daily chart. So had a small scalp short pre-market and then get squeezed to, $4.90s, $5. I shorted it. Pretty small size, but I just took the meat of the move and covered 420 and I was all out at 390. So very clean trade. And sometimes the best trades are the clean ones, because I'm going to show you some examples of over trading on WWR and PECK. I'm very frustrated because, I had a very good morning right off the bat, right off the open. As you can see on PECK, I was short bias on the stock. It's a stock I traded many times before. I had a very decent size position short. Shorted at the open and shorted the spikes. Had a very decent size, around $13 average after all the ads. And I was covering on the way down. And I was basically all out right here around 1070s and then $11. That was pretty nice. I was up good. I should have just walked away. But, the sort of low float algo kicked in. And, there's no excuses. I definitely felt like I was overly confident and I added back size way too quickly trying to short the stock. No excuses, but I basically gave back $8,000 of profits on this squeeze up which is more than half the profits on PECK. So at this point, I was very emotional around 11 o'clock, 11:30s, and it hurts, right? Giving back money, basically it's the same as losing. So, it was not a good trade. The type of V-shaped algo that we talked about, GRNQ, WWR from, Monday and Tuesday, it's the same scenario here. And I should have been prepared for it. But I got a little bit too aggressive and I was just a little bit too confident. I got too cocky and, basically got my ass handed to me on PECK. I still ended green on the ticker, but I was just so stressed out around this area, around, $12 and all the way up to 13. I was so stressed out. And I did cover for a fat loss on PECK. And it's a very similar thing on WWR. So that's why today I'm still green, but I'm very, very not happy with how I ended the green day. Let's just say that. So WWR, if you look at the daily chart yesterday, it looks bearish. And that's why I was leaning short bias on the stock, especially pre-market was sold off so much gains. And so that's why I was short bias on the stock. I started in early, small size pre-market. The idea is to add into pops at the open. So we got a small pop. I had some small starter already pre-market. I added into the pops and I was covering into it. And I reshorted on the pops, covered all of it here. This is fine. Like this initial short trade, as you can see on WWR, with all the ads, I had a nice average about 1130s and was covering into 1050s and then 1040s. So that's decent profit. That's $1 a share. I was all out and I should have left it alone. Same as PECK. And then I got chopped up again here. The exact same kind of low float squeeze move that we talked about that I should have been prepared for. I went back and re-added back too big, too fast. And basically gave back a little bit more profit. Not as bad as PECK, but still frustrating. So that's the thing I kind of want to talk about. I'm still green on the day, as you can see, but I'm not happy about how I ended green. And I'd much rather have a cleaner day like I did on Tuesday on PPSI, where I traded according to a plan and all the risks are really well managed. The profit is not as big as today, but the key to trading isn't to stay green or isn't to make big profits every single day. It's to be disciplined. And today I definitely broke that. If I let myself go and celebrate that profit from today, even though I traded wrong and I traded terribly speaking, tomorrow could be the day that I gave back everything I made today, Tuesday and Monday, and go and blow up even. So that's why I think it's important not to judge yourself and analyze your own trading by your P&L and by your green days or red days. I think it's more important if you want to stay in this game for the longevity. You want to have good trading discipline. You want to follow your trading rules. You want to have good risk management. And today I broke a lot of those rules. So that's why this video is also for me to look at too, because you can't celebrate those wins where you broke so much rule to make it. So if you watched it till the end to this far, please let me know in the comment section below whether you prefer this kind of format of trading recap where I sit down, talk to the camera, and recap maybe the past 2 or 3 days. Or do you prefer the daily recap videos where I just do a screen recording of myself going over the plays? I don't think I can do that on a daily basis and still film myself just because it's too much work and I'm usually very tired at the end of the day. But if I do this collectively, to pick out the main plays from the last few days, I think I could do this. I wouldn't be able to talk about every single trade, the small ones, the big ones, but I would only be able to go over the major plays of the day, if you will. So let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the bad jokes. If you want to see more day trading content, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. If you'd like to trade with me daily and get my free weekend watch list and trading journal, make sure to check out the links below for more resources. Stay green, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next time.